When God speaks prophetically to you, it's going to get worse before it gets better. You might get excited and start shouting and all of that, and just thinking that, wow, I'm getting ready to be blessed by God. The Lord has spoken to me. I have a sense that things are getting ready to turn around. And when God has spoken that word, it's going to look like you're getting ready to go in reverse before he'll actually send you forward. But I just want you to understand that God is in the birthing process, and there's something that he's up to. When you get down to nothing, God is up to something. And he's put you on crisis. In crisis, he's put you on a birthing stool because God's trying to birth something through you. And you're going through the pain and you're wondering, why is this? And then it'll start manifesting itself with the very spouse that helped to get you in that condition. And now you get mad with them. And this thing is really even not about the tension between a husband and a wife. It's about what's trying to be born, that's coming amid chaos and crisis and conflict and struggle. And so God's trying to get us prepared for something. So think it not strange. Think it not strange. In John chapter 9, St. John chapter 9, there was a man that was born blind. And they began to ask the questions, who did sin? This man or his parents? But Jesus said it was neither this man nor his parents, but it was so that the works of God might be displayed in him. It didn't have anything to do with that. He was saying that this was all for the glory of God. You mean to tell me that a man would have to be born blind, not able to see the glory of a sunrise or a sunset, not able to behold his own mother's face, not able to see the wind blowing leaves on the trees? He was in total darkness all of these years of his life, and all of this darkness, this blindness, his having negative situations in his life, and his not being able to see what it was all about. Do you mean to tell me that God could have prescribed that for his glory? And this man had been in this condition from birth, where he had never seen the light of day, and he was blind. Could it be that God would allow us to go 30 and 40 and 50 and sometimes 60 years and we be blind to his purpose, but only for one day the glory of God to hit us and bring such illumination? And all of a sudden I understand now why I couldn't kill myself, why I couldn't die, why cancer couldn't take me out, why my hypertension didn't take me, why the heart attack didn't take me. Now I understand my purpose, that I had to stay here because there was something in me that I had to get to the next generation. I wanted to leave empty because I knew that I'd have to stand before him one day and answer the question, what did you do about my son Jesus? And what did you do with the gifts that I gave you? And there's a day of reckoning, and just maybe, God gave us a prescribed set of circumstances so that his glory could be revealed. Blind from birth, and yet Jesus said this is not even about sin. And isn't it something how snooty, condescending Christians will look at your life, Inspector Gadget, pulling out all kinds of things, analyzing you, telling you that if you had a prayer life, that if you knew how to praise him, that if you confessed the word right, that maybe this wouldn't be happening and that wouldn't be happening. How many of you know that you can pray till you can't pray anymore, and you can cry sometimes till you can cry no more, and you can quote scriptures and get people to pray for you, and you can go on a fast and turn your plate down, and still blind, still can't see, still dealing. But I'm here to tell you today that my God, that it's not about you, it's not about your mama nor your daddy. This is that the glory, Shekelamondo, it's about the glory of God that is yet to be revealed, yet to be revealed. Take your seat, I got something else to tell you. May I just tell you that in St. John chapter 11, Jesus waited in Bethany where he was before he went to see his dear friend Lazarus. And Jesus loved Lazarus. Jesus loved Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha. He waited there. He waited purposefully where he was because Lazarus was already sick unto death when Jesus got the news. And Jesus got the news and stayed on where he was until Lazarus died. And Jesus had something to say about that. He said, this sickness is not unto death. In other words, this sickness is not going to end in death. He said, but for the glory of God, so that the Son of God may be glorified by it. And there are some times that the Lord will allow some relationships to die. And it's all for the glory of God. You see, people that don't understand you will look at you and think that you're finished because something that was brought into your life died. But the devil is a lie. God still has a plan when other people forsake you. When my father and mother forsake me, then the Lord shall take me up. There's something about God that begins to lift us to a different place in him when we actually submit ourselves and say, Lord, thy will be done. And here he purposefully waited. Why did he wait? Did he just wait so he could watch a family go through the emotional turmoil of losing a loved one and having to deal with the burial plans? Because by the time Jesus got there, he had already been buried and wrapped and had been in the grave for 4 days. And they said, by now his body stinketh. And Jesus waited until not only he was dead, but until he was stinking dead. And then he came on the scene, not to try to cause emotional grief and turmoil and hardship on a family, but maybe, just maybe, have you ever considered that just maybe when you get under a barrage of relatives dying and close people dying, because sometimes in a 3-month span of time, in a 6-month span of time, sometimes grandmama can go and uncle can go and cousin can go and a sister, brother can go, and you become bombarded by death on every hand, and you begin to wonder, God, what is it that you're doing in my life? What have I done to deserve this? Who's going next? And maybe, just maybe, the sickness is not to end in death. Maybe it is for the glory of God. And have you considered that there are times that death can be for God's glory even when he doesn't bring them back? I've done the funerals of double murders of relatives and led 250 people to the Lord. And more glory comes out of their death than they ever produced all the days of their life. Are you listening? Let me tell you, we don't always understand the workings of God, but our God is an absolutely awesome, awesome God. You ever been to a jewelry store and they'll take something that's nice and dark and lay that as the background? You know why? Because there's something about bling bling that really shows up. You don't want to bring a white background, something that is pristine, that doesn't have any spot or blemish on it. You want to bring something that is so dark, so velvety, so rich, so when you start laying the bling bling out, that the bling bling starts popping, that the diamonds start sparkling, and because it's on a black backdrop. And just maybe some of the stuff that God allows to happen in our lives, he's just laying it on a black backdrop. Maybe that's the reason that your reputation and credit report is the way that it is. Because God's glory shows up on a black backdrop. Perhaps that is the reason when you come from aristocracy and you never had a trouble in your life, people can't see that as the glory of God. But when you come out of blackness and darkness and he wants something to sparkle, he'll say, take this jewel and put it on something black because I really want its luster to shine and to sparkle. I want other people to be able to see it. Maybe he wants the diamond to bling bling like he placed the stars in a black sky at night. Maybe that's the reason you don't see the stars in the daylight. There are some lights that are only designed